throughout history, Stanford Medicine has been home to cutting edge. Nah, you can't read that way. Welcome back again to my YouTube channel. My name is Juliet. I'm a Pearson Test of English tutor. In today's video, I'm talking about the things that can cost you your PTE speaking score, or things to avoid if you want to get a high score in your PTE speaking. Let's get started. Now, the PTE speaking is the first module in the PTE exam, and it's a very important module because it has a way of helping you pass the PTE reading and the PTE listening. So there are certain things that I want to touch base with again because students keep making these mistakes over and over again. So guess what? I said to myself, there's no need for you to stop talking about these things. Keep reiterating, keep emphasizing on these things, because the more you emphasize on it, just maybe people will be able to, or test takers will be able to accept it and begin to hit to it, like it's an instruction. Test takers might begin to hit to it. All right, in today's video, like always, I have it written down here. Always good to have you back. If you're new to my channel, remember to hit the subscription button and remember to turn on your bell notification. Remember to give this video a thumbs up as well. Now, the first thing I have here is don't start, stop, and start again. So that was exactly what I just did. Throughout history, Stanford Medicine has been throughout history. Stanford Medicine, if you do that, people do that a lot. They try to go back to start to read all over again after they have started. Now, if you do that, it's going to cost you your score. Remember, what you're looking for here is your fluency. So your ability to speak fluently without all this start and stop stuff, reading smoothly. Remember, it's an exam, so there are certain things that they require from you. Your ability to read fluently. So if you read throughout history, Stanford Medicine has been, then you start again. Throughout history, Stanford Medicine has been home to, bro, it's going to affect your score. So the first thing here I said, don't start, stop, and start again. If you start, stop, and start again, this will have a way of affecting your speaking score. All right, so let's go to point number 2, making correction over what you're reading. So I'm just going to go ahead and try out another question. I'm going to be putting them here. This one says, USA sexually, US sexually teased its troops in the first word to make, you can see from what I'm reading that it's not clear enough. Maybe because you made a mistake in the word teased, you want to go back and make the correction. If you do that, it's still going to affect your fluency score. So do not make corrections over what you're reading. What I would say to my student mostly is, if you've made a mistake, just carry on and just pretend like you didn't know that you made a mistake. Okay, because if you make a mistake and you try to go back and correct it, remember, it's a computer-based exam. It's kind of AI. It's not going to take into cognizance the things you have read before. It's just going to start it afresh. So let's say, for instance, you made a correction in the middle of a sentence, and it means that all you have read before you got to that middle of the sentence would not have been recorded. It will just start recording from where you started again. So it's important you don't make corrections over what you're reading, because it's going to cost you your score. Okay, so you just keep it simple. That way you'll be able to get the score that you need. Now, the third thing I have here is not positioning your mic appropriately. Now, I won't also forget doing this because I know it's very important. All right, so I've got my microphone here. This is not the one they use in the real PT exam, but it's something similar. So you have it this way, and I won't stop doing this. You have it this way. You see the way I put my head back, or if it's too far, you just put it this way. But you can see the angle to my mouth. Now, I didn't put it under my nose, neither did I put it down here, okay? Or neither did I put it on top of my mouth. If you do all these things, you're going to lose scores. It's not going to pick your voice. Now, I want to say something. Remember, in the PTE speaking, it's compulsory you must use a headset, the Pantronic headset that Pearson has in their exams. Okay, it's compulsory. So it's important to try to test out what it's like using a headset, or if you don't have opportunity of having a headset at home, when you go for the exam, remember and Juliet said that the microphone should be placed in such a way that your headset should be placed in such a way that the microphone will be close to your mouth, or just an angle, but always an angle to your mouth, like 90 degrees to your mouth. Well, somebody say, what is 90 degrees? Just not too far away from your mouth. See, this way, as you're talking, it's speaking your voice. Remember, if the microphone doesn't pick your voice, you have wasted your time in the speaking. So you might know how to do the read aloud, you might know how to do the retell lecture, the repeat sentence. What would all those things amount to if your headset is not properly placed and your microphone is displaced? All right, so what I've said here is you not positioning your mic appropriately will cost you your score in the speaking. So these are the things, one of the things you need to avoid in the PTE speaking, because if you do not place your microphone appropriately, it's not going to pick your voice, and once it's not picking your voice, it's not your voice, it's nothing is being recorded for you. So you might have just as well wasted your time in the exam. Just imagine you preparing for this exam and paying the money to come sit for this exam only for your voice not to be recorded. So I can't stop talking about microphone positioning, because sometimes I have seen that these things have cost people their score in the PTE speaking. You can see somebody in the class or in the tutorials doing so well while reading, but you can see that when they go to the exam and come out, you find out that their scores ends adding up, their scores ends making sense. So you can see that this can be one of the reasons why their scores are not making sense in the PTE speaking. Remember, this what I'm talking about is things that you can avoid, or things that can make you not to get your high score in the PTE speaking. This is just one of them. All right, so the next thing we're going to be looking at reading is don't read naturally. You know, when you go to the official Pearson score guide, they will tell you read as naturally as possible. That's very questionable. I pray they don't come for me in this video. But if you find out that if you read that way, as naturally as they want you to read, you find out that you will not be getting the score that you need to get. So let's look at this one here. It says, let's look at another question here, and I'll read it and we'll see that what they're talking about reading naturally. Why costs are rising, artist fees are not, and tickets to regular shows are harder to move than ever. That's what they mean by naturally. You know, when you're reading stuff naturally, you read to understand. But for the Pearson test of English read aloud, I don't think you need to understand. You read to pass. Yeah, you actually read to pass, okay? So you don't try to read to understand what you just read. Don't read naturally, because it's been proven over time and time again that if you read naturally, maybe like you're reading to your child or you're reading to yourself, it's going to affect your fluency score. So why are they looking for fluency if they're talking about you reading naturally? Just how does it sound in your ear? Why costs are rising, artist fees are not, and tickets to regular shows are harder to move than ever. You can also see here that it's not moving, it's not even flowing. So it has to flow. It has to be like in a reading when you're reading. So you should go ahead and read like this. Why costs are rising, artist fees are not, and tickets to regular shows are harder to move than ever. Many fans aren't ready to return to the crowded much. Others are dealing with blockbuster shows, people who do buy tickets. That's the way you should read. And not why costs are rising. You're not singing, you're not like singing a lullaby. Okay, singing a song to a child that wants to sleep. It's an exam. You have to put in effort. You have to add life to what you're reading. Now, sometimes when we watch like newscasters cast news, we don't see them say why costs are rising, artist fees are not. They don't even cast news that way. Okay, and they're trying to pass information across. So the same way here, when you're in an exam setting, you have to consciously read, having it in mind that your fluency is important, having it in mind that you have to really ensure that you're reading appropriately. There's a right way to read and the right way not to read. So I'm saying in this video that do not read naturally, because if you read naturally, your fluency score will be affected. So these are one of the things I want to share today in this video. Now, I've said about 4 things here. Do not stop and start again. I also said do not make corrections over what you're reading, and I said do not positioning your mic appropriately can cost you your score, and I did talk about reading naturally. So these are the things that will make you to lose your point in the PTE speaking. Don't forget that the PTE speaking is a very important module in the PTE exam. It will help you pass the PTE reading and the PTE listening. So if you're not careful, you might be missing out a lot of scores in the PTE speaking that will go ahead to affect these other modules that I have mentioned. So I hope this video will help you know exactly what to do. Now, if you have questions, you can leave it in the comment section. Also, remember to hit the subscribe button. Remember to give this video a thumbs up, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.